Hi, my name's Andrew Bradley, and I'm Manager for Strategic Projects and Supply Chains with ICN Victoria, and great to be chatting with you with this industry briefing. Just to give you a little bit of context, I'm just going to go through who ICN is, who we are, what we do, a little bit about the Local Jobs First policy, a little bit about ICN Gateway, and have a look at some other rail opportunities as well. So ICN Victoria has been in business for around 35 years. We're a not-for-profit organisation, and the vast majority of our funding comes from the Victorian State Government. And we also have a small commercial arm, which generates a little bit of income, which we then channel back into product development. Through our funding agreement with the state, our primary role is to administer and manage the state government's Local Jobs First policy. And that's a policy that has been around, again, for about 15 or 16 years in various guises. Some of you may recall the term VIPP, or Victorian Industry Participation Policy. So Local Jobs First is a state government policy. It was an Act of Parliament passed on the 15th of August 2018. It takes the VIPP and also another piece of legislation, MPSG, or Major Project Skills Guarantee. MPSG looks at the employment and retention of apprentices, trainees and cadets. So the state put those two pieces of legislation together into one and called it Local Jobs First. So it is, again, an Act of Parliament. It is a state requirement, and ICN does the managing and administering of that particular policy. Now, the Waurn line upgrade is part of the Victorian Government's Regional Rail Revival project, and has been identified as being a strategic project, having a value of over $50 million. It is therefore subject to Local Jobs First policy, and all bidders were required to complete a Local Industry Development Plan, or an LIDP, as part of their tender submission. The minimum level of local content was set for the project, and Downer's commitments to local industry are now part of their contract. The way to connect with Downer on this particular project through us is on ICN Gateway. ICN Gateway is a national portal. It's there where we have companies telling us their capability, who they are, what they do, and we put up opportunities similar to this particular one we're talking about today. This one, as I said, falls under the Regional Rail Revival, and we have an ICN Gateway page set up specifically for that. And if you get onto ICN Gateway, you'll actually be able to find that. You'll find some details around the project, some potential work packages that are associated with it, an area to do an EOI, and I'll cover that on the next slide, and also some contact details around the industry advisor for the program. In terms of doing a registration of interest, as I say, that's generally at the bottom of the page. If you click on the full scope EOI, that will let you do that. Essentially what that does is attaches your company data that's in ICN Gateway. And if you're not registered with us, certainly recommend that you do that and make sure that your company profile is as up to date as possible, particularly around contact details, and again, your capability and your capacity. Once you click on that EOI, it will let you do that EOI, against the package. And what that does is say, we'll attach your company data to that, and it's that data that we send to companies such as Downer in this instance. So again, important to ensure that you have up-to-date profile, up-to-date information, and as accurate as you can be with that. On ICN Gateway, we also have a number of other rail opportunities that you might be interested in, and some of you will be aware of some other projects that were out to tender fairly recently, that being the Gippsland and Bendigo line upgrade and the Shepparton corridor upgrade. kind of similar in scope, both of those to Warrnambool with some variations. Now, those two particular tenders have closed. The state is currently evaluating those tenders from bidders, and we expect an announcement on who's won those two particular tenders fairly soon. And again, you can register against those on Gateway if you haven't already done that. In the awarded phase, there's the Avon River Bridge down in Gippsland. That's been awarded to CPB contractors. And obviously the Metro Tunnel project through the city, which again, many of you will be aware of and probably involved in some way. And again, you can offer your EOIs against that as well. In terms of upcoming projects, there's several, I guess, in the pipeline. Obviously, one of the biggest ones that will happen into the future will be the suburban rail loop. We don't have too much detail on that at this moment in time, but when we do, we'll obviously make sure that that's posted on Gateway and everybody has the opportunity to get involved with that particular project. I guess some other opportunities, perhaps a little left field for some people in the rail industry, but maybe not. Obviously, the COVID-19 is taking over a lot of people's thoughts and looking to respond in some way to that. And the state has asked us to create a register of responses around who has some capability to manufacture product, and to also list any supply chain issues. So again, if you're experiencing problems in getting raw materials, you can actually register against that as well. We're passing all that data through to the state for them to try and sift through and make some headway in terms of people trying to offer their services in terms of manufacturing goods and services, or again, as I say, supply chain issues that you might be encountering. With all of the major projects that we have, including the Warrnambool line upgrade, we have a dedicated industry advisor for each of these. Peter McCracken is the dedicated IA for this particular project. Peter's based in Geelong and obviously has very strong connections to the region, and is keen to connect as many companies in the region back to Downer for some potential opportunities that may be there. So Peter's details are on that screen with his email address and phone number. So if you don't already know Peter, I suggest you get in contact with him and have a chat.